Tonight on CTV News, Canterbury's biggest social events racing forward ahead of tomorrow's Trotting Cup. They're road cones, but not like the thousands you're used to seeing. And the sounds of Scotland beam across Hororata. Kia ora, good evening. One of the biggest events on New Zealand's racing calendar is upon us for another year, with punters, drivers and fashionistas getting race ready for tomorrow's Trotting Cup. Chelsea Daniels has the details.
Horses are at their marks, final preparation on flower displays is well underway, and girls are getting their outfits ready for race day. Tomorrow is New Zealand Trotting Cup Day, the biggest harness racing event in Australasia and the biggest racing event in New Zealand.
For a number of years we've always had more than 20,000. I would expect, given the weather tomorrow is going to be about 24 degrees, I would think we'll be getting close to capacity at 22,000.
The New Zealand Cup, which has been around for over a century, is the holy grail of standard-bred racing.
You aspire to take that home in the second Tuesday of November, about 6 o'clock at night, to fill it up with some bubbly stuff and to make sure you've still got it the next morning. And
with a big race day comes big money. The betting turnover for tomorrow and on show day will be about $6.8 million. And Mr. Dent says the way people bet has changed dramatically within the past few years.
The TAB has an e-site for people to bet on their phones now, so that's changed. Once upon a time, you rattled up to the window with a $1 note or a $10 note or whatever. Now it's done on a large amount is being done online, both on course and off course.
So, who's the hot favourite for tomorrow's Cup win?
Being the chairman of Addington, you're there, pretty much 38 times a year. You get to see horses. My view is I think that Smolder will win the New Zealand Trotting Cup tomorrow. His performance over the last little while has been heading towards a Cup win.
But the Cup isn't the only competition on tomorrow's schedule. The Westfield Riccarton Style Stakes is a big part of the Canterbury social calendar and takes a closer look at the fashion on the field. Judges for the contest include celebrity stylist Luke Bettisworth and Canterbury Golden Girl Sophie Pascoe.
Let's have something that is functional and sort of really beautiful, elegant racewear, but with a twist. So in the past, Christchurch has been quite conservative in terms of what we've picked. So I'll be saying, hey guys, free rein.
They've got over 60 applicants for the competition, with applications closing today.
I think we've got a slight increase, actually, to be fair, so I'm really looking forward to a big one tomorrow.
So, will Christchurch compare to the recent Melbourne Cup?
I would love to say that, because I saw a real mix from Melbourne, from the sort of the coverage. I saw a lot of messy and not so good, and then I saw a lot of expensive and very polished.
CTV's own host of Canterbury Live, Andrea Allen, agrees, saying style translates through your actions as well.
With the races, it's all about style, but that style is within and without. So the ladies and the gentlemen need to remember, if they're stepping out and spending that time, the money, to look fabulous for the races, they need to sort of keep that in check for the rest of the day.
And she says there's a big difference between racewear and normal attire.
One thing I'm really hoping for is the girls, the length. We bring the length down, not up, but down, because I think that's the cardinal sin, is that you're dressing for day wear, not for the night. So what you'd wear clubbing in town, you can't wear.
The races start bright and early tomorrow morning, and visitors should expect beautiful weather of a maximum of 24 degrees and clear skies. Chelsea Daniels, CTV News.
And CTV reporter Gordon Finlater will have more on the racing action later on in sport. Well, to today's other news now. Doctors are optimistic Christchurch Catholic Bishop Barry Jones will be back on his feet soon after suffering his third stroke. He suffered the stroke on Sunday. His second was about a month ago. In the statement released today, Bishop Jones is now communicating well and medical staff are happy with his progress. Bishop Jones is expected to retire when he turns 75 next year. Well, a few records were broken over the weekend thanks to the Christchurch rebuild. The final concrete foundation pour for the new City Hospital has just wrapped up, pumping in more cement than any other medical building in the South Island. 50 trucks and 360 loads of concrete later, the final stage is now complete. It's the largest continuous concrete pour by a single supplier in the South Island.
So we've been going through for the last 19 weeks with the foundations package, which is constructing the lower ground floor.
It was full steam ahead over the weekend, now finishing up 9 separate pours which were sloshed into this construction site, set to house the new acute service building for Christchurch Hospital. Swallowing up well over 15,000 cubic metres of cement, it'll be the largest hospital complex in the South Island.
There's a trophy that's passed around different contractors in Christchurch for who's achieved the largest concrete pour, particularly as part of the rebuild. We've had 3 records set in terms of the largest concrete pours in Christchurch, and this one broke our previous 2 records.
The large amount of concrete is required to bring the building to 180% building code. And although the cement pour may be impressive, the steel reinforcements just as spectacular.
So there's 2,300 tonnes in steel, which if you place that length on length would reach from Christchurch to Melbourne.
When the building's complete, it will stand 10 stories high, being able to cater for around 400 patients. Contractors for the next stage of development are still being worked through, likely to kick off next year. Still to come here on CTV News, road cones like you've never seen them before. Welcome back to CTV News. Can you hear that? Oh, I think it's the sound of bagpipes. Yes, the Highland Games were back again for another year, and Chelsea Daniels was amongst the action.
People flocked in the thousands to the small hillside suburb of Hororata at the weekend, whiskey and tartan skirts in tow. Crowds reached 9,000 on Saturday for the 5th annual Hororata Highland Games.
We've got 200 volunteers that have helped set up all week, who are helping today, who will help pack down. It's really complex, the number of events that we've got going on. We've got over 100 stalls, but then within that we've got 10, 12 different competitive events that we have to coordinate.
The Games hosts a range of Scottish events, including tug-of-war, Highland dancing and the Highland spin. They also had the heavy events like the caber toss, hammer throw, stone put and basically throwing anything heavy as high or as long as you can. The senior heavy athletes competed in 8 disciplines for the Oceania Heavyweight Championship title. So it's not just Canterburyans getting involved.
We've got people who come from all over New Zealand. We've got Australian competitors here. We had Scottish competitors last year. Our chieftain this year is come from Scotland, especially for the event.
After the September 2010 earthquake, the Hororata Community Trust was formed with the purpose to help rebuild and promote the wider community.
So the Hororata Community Trust is the organisation behind the Games, and we're constantly raising money for different projects and for the community and supporting the community.
Funds from the past 4 games have been used to repair 3 local swimming pools, and an investment of over $20,000 has been made in capital improvements to Hororata Domain.
Hororata was virtually near the epicentre of the 2010 earthquake, and of course it got a wee bit overshadowed by the February quake in town, but there's been a lot of damage here, and particularly to a lot of the heritage items like St John's Church. So the Trust's here to try and fix some of that damage, but also provide facilities the community needs.
And Mr Lang says the turnout for the day was incredible.
Look, it's actually a dream for us because we've got great weather, we've got really good crowds here, great participation, lots of competitors have come, but we've also got a lot of amateur people having a go at some of the events.
Chelsea Daniels, CTV News.
Well, where there's road workers comes road cones. Yes, Canterburyans have been patient when it comes to their streets being fixed up around the city, with road workers playing a massive role in the Christchurch rebuild. And now some local design students are giving back, recognising their hard work over nearly 5 years, the best way they know how. The road cone, a symbol of Christchurch's rebuild. Now some new looking cones have popped up with one clear message.
Students here have created an exhibition based around road cones, which is an expression to say a big thank you to all the road workers. it's one of those positive things that we don't do enough in Christchurch.
14 design students from CPIT constructed these 18 works of art, everything in relation to the Christchurch recovery.
Some of the works that are here today actually show what you could do with road cones when they become redundant, which is pretty cool.
It's been a few months in the making, and it all started earlier this year on a trip home to Sumner.
Let's put a sign in the road cone to say thank you to all the road workers. And so we did that, and they were absolutely stoked. It never got damaged. The boys just left it out there.
Something the students hope will be another positive project, putting a smile on those who walk by.
We've celebrated in lots of ways, flowers and cones, we see them all around. We must be, per capita, have the largest amount of road cones in the world, and we should be proud of that. But I think with working with students is to get them to think about it, the project, and then it was up to them. But it was a lot of creative, lateral thinking outside the square, coming up with ideas, and once they started to do that, they got excited, and all of them are quite individual, these works, and it'll be good to get the message out to the road workers we're doing something for them.
A thank you cake, a slushy making cone, I bet the road workers would love that, and well, a redesigned Christchurch Cathedral, inspired by an online photo.
Some of the students would like to donate the works to roading companies, some of the works if they're interested, so they can have them as a reminder to say thanks, and we'll see where that goes from there.
But for now, they'll be on display at the Christchurch City Council.
If the odd road worker comes in, can get a laugh. I mean, there's one particular one that I think's a little cheeky. Well, I think you've got to come and have a look, don't you?
The exhibition will be up until the end of next week. Now let's cross to Andrew King in the newsroom with what's happening in your neighbourhood.
Thanks, Jared. You may get a longer warm-up before tackling the popular Rapaki track soon. Plans are afoot to get parts of Rapaki Road, which leads onto the track, turned into residents-only parking. This means those who use the track will have to park further away. Residents told the Spraydon Heathcote Community Board that the road becomes narrow and dangerous when people are parked on both sides. The Community Board has asked the Christchurch City Council staff to have a look at resident-only parking. But Deputy Board Chairwoman Caroline Potter is against the plan. She said it would simply shift the problem to nearby smaller streets. Years of hard work and study has paid off for Shirley Boys High School Ducks winner, Brad Proud. The 17-year-old received his Ducks last week for topping 4 of his 5 subjects this year. Next year he will travel north to Auckland University thanks to a $50,000 scholarship. Brad plans to become a neurosurgeon or, failing that, an orthopaedic surgeon. Good luck with your studies, Brad. A bus trip that was meant to help decisions be made about how to spend QE2 replacement money has caused further confusion. Councillors Glenn Livingston and David East, with Burwood Pegasus board members Linda Stewart and Tim Baker, recently travelled around Rangiora, Selwyn and Ashburton aquatic facilities. But instead of reaching a consensus on how to spend the $37 million allocated to the Eastern Sports and Recreation Centre, they still remain divided. 3 of the 4 board members say there won't be enough money for 2 long, deep pools, while Linda Stewart is adamant there is enough to build both. The business world better watch out for bright young people from Villa Maria College and St Thomas of Canterbury College. Villa Maria College won the Youth Enterprise Scheme Regional Awards after their fudge enterprise proved too tempting for the judges. St Thomas of Canterbury College were runners-up for their project George OS, a software program designed to independently tutor literacy and numeracy. Both schools will be sending representatives to Wellington to compete in the national competitions on December 9. Hornby High School is no longer under close scrutiny from the Education Review Office. The school has been under the microscope for the past 8 years due to a range of concerns including student engagement, effectiveness of teaching and leadership management. But now the ERO says the school has vastly improved and said it would not need to visit for another 4 to 5 years. Principal Richard Edmondson said the excellent review is down to the hard work students, teachers, parents, Board of Trustees and the community has put into the school. Lincoln residents can now have their say on how their town should be developed. Consultation on the Lincoln Town Centre plan is now open. Key projects proposed include a pedestrian plaza on Gerald Street with paving, seating and landscaping, separated cycle lanes and converting several streets into car parking precincts. As part of the consultation, community forums for residents to share their views will be held at the Lincoln Event Centre on November 16 and 21. From the newsroom, I'm Andrew King.
Thanks for that, Andrew. We're still to come here on CTV News Sport. Plus, will the sun be out all day for the Trotting Cup? Mercy will have all the weather details after the break. Welcome back to CTV News. Now here's Gordon Finlater with the latest in local sport.
Well, tomorrow sees the biggest day on the New Zealand trotting calendar roll around, with the New Zealand Cup set to be raced at just after 5 o'clock at Addington. While a couple of Mark Purden trained horses and an Australian are amongst the favourites, one name that can never be written off is Robert Dunn. No doctor needed may not be a favourite amongst the TAB, but his trainer and one-time winner of the New Zealand Cup believes his draw will suit.
I said to the owner, he said to me, what draw do you want? I said 1. And he said, why 1? I said, well, look, he's not a brilliant beginner, this horse, but he's what I call safe. He's only missed once out of 5 starts, and that when he was running up at Ashburton when the field looked like nearly all the field were running, and they couldn't anticipate when the start was going to go, so they all sort of moved a bit quick, and he was on the wrong leg. Standing him still was the key to him, and he does begin safe. And because he's a safe beginner, not a brilliant beginner, it's good that he can actually be on the fence and doesn't have to sort of try and find a spot. If he comes out wide and he's got all horses poking up inside of him, sometimes he can be 3 wide. You've got 2 options, 1 to go forward, 1 to go back. And so either way, you're losing the position. So I think for him, it's a great draw.
Dunn's stables in Wood End is headed by son John Dunn, who will drive their Cup hope tomorrow.
When he wanted to put all his energy into no doctor needed in the Cup. So he's been in charge of running the stable down here. I've been in Auckland, and he's pretty confident with both horses, and he said to me, I've got a real chance of winning the Cup this year. Of course, running second last year, just beaten. And a lot of people might think, well, that's shooting a wee bit too high, but Johnny's not one of those guys that gets too confident, so when he says things like that, I'm pretty happy.
The family connection doesn't end there, though, with youngest son Dexter considered by many as the best driver in the world.
You know, winning the world champs last year was super effort, and he'll just carry on driving winners, and that's what he does love. And I must admit, Gordon, from the time he was a little fella, I earmarked him probably when he was about 10 to be something pretty special, because I just noticed when he was in the cart, the horses just ran. And Johnny and I think when he was 13 or 14, Johnny and I started teaming up together, and Johnny started working for me. And Johnny kept on saying, boy, the horses run for Dex, and that's what's happened, and it never stopped really.
One feat yet to be achieved by the Dunns is a New Zealand Cup title as a driver, something Robert is hoping can change sooner rather than later.
Probably you regret later in life you never won a Cup as a driver. And then when I trained Mainland Banner to win a Cup, well, that was just out of the world for me, because Ian Dobson was a big supporter of mine when I got back into training again. And 4-year-old mare, the only 4-year-old mare ever to win the New Zealand Cup in its 100-odd-plus-year-old history, which is quite, staggering. So that was great, but for me to train a horse and Johnny to drive the horse and win the New Zealand Cup, it would mean everything to me.
So what if Dexter pips them on the day?
Well, the rivalry between us as a family is just pretty close. I mean, we're proud of all his achievements, and if he beats us, we're pretty proud of that too. And if he does beat us tomorrow, it's trained by a great mate of mine, Crandell Giddy, so it won't worry me at all, because it'll be one of those things that happen in this industry. We're gracious losers, but we're very good winners. We know how to party, so either way, it'll be great.
The Canterbury Kings began their 2020 campaign over the weekend with mixed results. Canterbury got off to the perfect start on Friday night with a 7-wicket victory, courtesy of an Andrew Ellis 5-wicket bag and a quick-fire 50 from the in-form Henry Nicholls. The Kings failed to back up on Sunday though, losing their home opener at Hagley to Wellington. Batting first, the Kings were handed plenty of opportunities thanks to some slippery Wellington hands. Captain Ronnie Hera top scored with 44 to help his side through to 134 from their reduced 15 overs. The total wasn't to be enough though, with the visitors hitting 2 sixes in the final over to seal a 7-wicket win. And just finally tonight, former Crusader and All Blacks captain Reuben Thorne has been named as the new first 15 coach for Christ College. The team had a year to forget with just 4 wins from 12 games, and it's hoped the reputation that Thorne brings to the school can turn around their once proud rugby program. Well, you're up to date with the latest in local sport. I'm Gordon Findlater for CTV Sport.
Thanks so much for that, Gordon. Now Mercy's here with your region's weather forecast. And Mercy, I hear it's looking quite good tomorrow.
Thanks, Jared. And yes, it is looking spectacular for Cup Day tomorrow. We're expecting 25-degree high for your Tuesday. Today was also pretty hot and sunny out there. Blue skies. 17 degrees was the high there for you, Timaru, just 1 more than the expected. Central Canterbury, Christchurch and Akaroa, you actually both got to 19 degrees today. It was beautiful and lovely out there around lunchtime. 16 there for you, Ashburton and Leaston, 17 for Darfield. Heading further north, Kaikoura, you were on 17 today, along with Cheviot, Culverden, Oxford and Rangiora, Amberley 16 for you. Now over to the Alpine region, Arthur's Pass, you actually took out today's high on 23 degrees. Looking ahead to tomorrow, as I said before, looking like a stunning day. Beautiful sunshine there. 23 degrees is expected high for Timaru, with a few northerly winds and high cloud for you. Ashburton also looking really hot. Look at that, 26 degrees. That's pretty much summer right there. Northerly winds and a very beautiful day in store. Christchurch, great for that Cup Day. 25 degrees there and 7 for your overnight low. Don't be put off by those southwesterlies. They won't be showing their face until later on the evening. Kaikoura, those southwesterlies also coming in around the evening mark. 24 degrees is the expected high during the day. South Canterbury, you can also expect a really nice Tuesday for you. Northwesterly winds there for Twizel, 26 degrees, really heating up. Central Canterbury, going to be a hot one here as well. Could be a few showers for you, Akaroa, but a mostly fine day with northerly winds. Southwesterlies coming in later on for Darfield on 24. Heading further north, we're also seeing up here these really warm temps, so 25 degrees for Hanmer Springs, Culverden, Oxford and Rangiora, and 24 degrees there for Amberley and Cheviot. Over to the Alpine region, 19 for you, Arthur's Pass, and 20 for Lake Tekapo. Now looking ahead to the upcoming days, unfortunately that hot weather doesn't continue. On Wednesday we're expecting southerly winds to come through, cooling down the temperatures and a bit of rain throughout the day. Flipping over to Thursday, it's much the same, quite bleak and dreary. We could be seeing a little bit of sunshine in the afternoon though, but on the whole mostly southerly winds and cool temperatures. The rest of the Canterbury region on Wednesday is also following this similar trend to the major centres. These southerly winds coming through, quite a soggy Wednesday in store and some heavy falls there for Arthur's Pass, unfortunately. Flipping over to Thursday, again, not a good day to put out your washing. It's going to be quite wet. We are seeing that rain easing in the afternoon, so there could be a few fine spells, fingers crossed. So over the next few days, tomorrow is looking absolutely wonderful. So if you're going to Cup Day, I hope you have a fabulous time. Make sure you take your sunblock though, because it's going to be a bit of a hot one. Back to you, Jared.
Thanks for that, Mercy. Yes, sunscreen, very important. Forgot it last year. Not a good idea. Simon, you're going tomorrow, aren't you? Remember the sunscreen. Good on you, mate. Okay, that is CTV News for tonight. You can catch this bulletin again at 7:30 and 9 p.m. tonight. Plus, we're on demand at ctv.co.nz. Thanks so much for joining us. I'm Jared McCulloch. Have a fantastic evening.
Supporting local content so you can see more of New Zealand on air.